So this evening we'll be reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace HG Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and we'll be reading from chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute, and we'll be reading from text 18. So if you like, you could do that. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So yeah, 7:18. You going to stay for class, Mukunda? You going to stay for class? Are you going to stay for class? Yeah. So what happened to your other daughter? She couldn't make it?
No, not tonight.
Okay.
Wife and daughter, other one are at a different event.
Okay. How old is your oldest daughter now? 15, okay. And how old are you two now?
I'm 13 and she's 9.
Okay. Everybody's growing up. How do you feel about that?
Well, they keep them God conscious.
That's good. Yeah, 7:18. Chapter 7, text 18. Is everybody there? Mm-hmm. All right, so we'll chant the Sanskrit. So I'll chant the first line, and then if everybody could repeat. Udara sarva evaite Gyani tvatmaiva me matam Astita sahi yuktatma Mam evanuttamam gatim Udara sarva evaite Gyani tvatmaiva me matam Astita sahi yuktatma Mam evanuttamam gatim Udara sarva evaite Gani tvatmaiva me matam Astita sahi yuktatma Mam evanuttamam gatim. Would anyone like to chant? Okay. Udara sarva evaite Would anyone else like to chant? Okay. Udara sarva arvite Would you like to chant? Udara
sarva evaite jnani tvatvamevatam asitra sahi yuktatma mamevanuttama gatim.
Would anyone else like to chant?
Udara sarva evete
Udara sarva evete
jnani tatmev me metamam
Jnani
tvatvamevatam
astitva sahi yuktama
Astita sahi yuktatma
mevanu pama gatim
mamana Would you like to chant? All right.
Udara sarve evaite jnani tvatvamevatam astitva sahi yuktatma mamevanuttama gatim.
You like to chant?
I'll try.
Okay.
Udare sarve evete
Udara sarva evaite
Yaniva atmaiva matam
Jnanitva matam
astita sa yukta tama
Astita sahi yuktatma
mam evanu tamam gatim
Mamivanutamam gatim. Anyone else would like to? Everyone almost did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 who didn't. But they don't have to if they don't want to. You want to try the Sanskrit? Udara sarva evete Jnani tvatmaiva mematam Astita sahi yuktatma Mamevanutamam gatim. You want to, or you'll skip? Okay. What about you? Would you like to? You'll skip this time? All right. What about you? You'll skip? And you'll skip? All right. Okay. That's all right. It's okay to skip. All right. So if you could just repeat after me. Udaraha. Magnanimous. Sarve. All. Eva. Certainly. Ete. These. Jnani. One who is in knowledge. Two. But. Atma eva. Just like myself. Me. My. Matam. Opinion. Astitaha. Situated. Saha. He. He. Certainly. Yukta Atma,
yuktatma,
engaged in devotional service.
engaged in devotional service.
Mam
Mam,
and me.
and me.
Similar, right? Like Sanskrit, Mam, me. It's a similar kind of. Eva,
Eva,
certainly.
certainly.
Anuttamam, the highest. Gatim, destination. Okay, translation. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me the highest and most perfect goal. So if you could please repeat after me one more time. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls.
But he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider him just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain the highest and most perfect goal.
All right, good. Purport. It is not that devotees who are less complete in knowledge.
It is not that
No, I'll just read this. Thank you, though, for your enthusiasm. It is not that devotees who are less complete in knowledge are not dear to the Lord. The Lord says that all are magnanimous, because anyone who comes to the Lord for any purpose is called a Mahatma, or great soul. The devotees who want some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord because there is an exchange of affection. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit. And when they get it, they become so satisfied that they also advance in devotional service. But the devotee in full knowledge is considered to be very dear to the Lord because his only purpose is to serve the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. Such a devotee cannot live a second without contacting or serving the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is very fond of his devotee and cannot be separated from him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 9.468, the Lord said, Sadhava hridayam mayam, sadhu nam hridanam tvayam, mad anyat te na jananti, naham tebhyo managapi. The devotees are always in my heart, and I am always in the hearts of the devotees. The devotee does not know anything beyond me, and I also cannot forget the devotee. There is a very intimate relationship between me and the pure devotees. Pure devotees in full knowledge are never out of spiritual touch, and therefore they are very much dear to me. Om Jnana Timidandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshul Anmalitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kativachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yakripadamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitaranam Vansha Kalpadiru Bishcha Kripa Sindube Vicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauda Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, translation one more time. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. So is anyone carrying a pocket dictionary by chance? No.
Cell phone.
I'm just joking. I know nobody's carrying a pocket dictionary, but I know somebody's carrying a cell phone, right? Maybe everybody here is carrying a cell phone. But maybe you could take your cell phone, somebody could take your cell phone and look up this word, magnanimous.
Hey Siri, what does magnanimous mean? Generous or forgiving, especially towards a rival or less powerful person. She should be magnanimous in victory.
So generous or forgiving. Nice. You're getting some different information?
no sense.
Same? Generous and forgiving? Okay. So they're great souls. This is what the point is. They're great souls. So the devotees, all these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls. So Krishna is describing these different devotees. He's specifically saying that there's 4 kinds of pious people. If you look at text 16, just couple verses back, Chatur vidha bhajante mam. So Krishna says, O best among the bards, 4 kinds of pious men began to render devotional service unto me. The distressed means people who are suffering. The desire of wealth, people who want money. The inquisitive, and one who is the curious, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. So these people, they approach Krishna. And then Krishna says in text 17, the next one, that of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. So then Krishna says today, right now, that what we just read at 18, that all these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me I consider to be just like my own self. So there's a great stress, or there's a great importance that Krishna gives to knowledge. And he says that one who's in knowledge of me I consider to be just like my own self. Now that doesn't mean that the soul, that Krishna is saying that the soul and him are the same, means the soul and God are the same. There's always a difference between the jiva and the supreme jiva, or the supreme soul. There's many differences. Srila Prabhupada gives the example that just like there's an ocean nearby, if you walk about 10 minutes this way, there's an ocean. So if you get a water bottle and then you pick up some water and you bring it back and you test to see what components are in that water, and then you test the mass of water, the same, the components are the same, right? But the difference is you have a small sample or small drop versus the big ocean. So Prabhupada said that, our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada said that if you want to know about God, you could just study yourself, because there's many things that we have in common. But there's things that we don't have in common also. Like, for example, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridim sarvabhutanam gatvamam shantam richiti. Chapter 5, text 29. We can look at that. 529. I believe. Let's see if I'm right. I was on the... Anyways. Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridim sarvabhutanam gatvamam shantam richati. 529. So Krishna says, a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices, means ultimate enjoyer. The Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material misery. So Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, he's the supreme friend, and the proprietor. So that's the difference between, one of the differences between the living entity and Krishna is that we can't claim proprietorship actually over anything. We may say we may temporarily possess things, but ultimately do we own anything? No, we don't. What to speak of owning all the planets or something. We don't own those. Anyway, so going back to text 18, 7:18. So Krishna puts a great stress on knowledge. And he says that those who are situated in knowledge I consider to be just like my own self. So in other words, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's pleased with somebody who has cultivated this knowledge. So therefore it's very important that we try to cultivate knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita we should read as much as possible. Some people, they have a habit of reading something before they go to sleep every night. Some people do that. I mean, some people watch stuff before they go to sleep. That's also a habit. Some people, whatever. But we should try to make it a habit to read something before we go to sleep. There's some studies out there, I don't know how true they are, but anyways, it sounds good, that there's some studies out there that says, okay, you read something before you go to sleep, and while you're sleeping, there's some processing there going on, which makes sense, because whatever we store in our mind, it has an impact. And if you do that every night, then it has a very powerful impact. And specifically, this person was talking about, he's a religious person, but he was talking about the impact of reading you could say spiritual, something spiritual, like the Bhagavad Gita or something, book like that, if you read the same thing every night. It's interesting because, I mean, I read as much as I read, and I also read before I go to sleep. But I'm reading, through books. I'll be reading different spiritual books. But it's not that I'm reading the same thing every night. But it's an interesting idea, because if you read the same thing, then one is you tend to remember it, because you keep on reading it over and over and over again. But anyways, this person was commenting on that. But the point being is that we should try to absorb ourselves as much as possible in the message of the Bhagavad Gita, and that will be very uplifting for us. Just like, for example, every day we brush our teeth, right? We don't have to ask everyone here who does that. I suspect everybody does that. Brush their teeth every morning. That's a common, practice. So the idea is that just as we're doing that for a hygienic principle, for hygienic purposes, to be clean, similarly, the idea is that we should also have some type of spiritual practice in which our consciousness remains clean or purified. And this is nothing new. I mean, people have been doing this for generations and generations and generations. I mean, if you study our ancestors, specifically those born in India, who was born in India here? Okay, a number of you. You're born in London, right? Who was born in America? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Where were you born? London. Okay. 2 Londoners. Born in London, a lot of in India, and a couple in America. So, I was born in America. Surprise, surprise. But just looking at, for those of you born in India, because a number of you raised your hands, just looking at your ancestors means your parents. and looking at their parents and looking at their parents. Go back a few generations. Now, these people somehow or other had a super, a very, you could say, a very intense sense of religiosity. I mean, before they would do anything, means in the day, you know, they would wake up, they would get clean, right? Hygienic, get clean, and then they would engage in these spiritual activities. They would sit and they would read the Gita, or they would write so many names of Ram, right? Or they would do some puja, worship some, Krishna or Ramchandra or whoever they may be worshiping. And they're very serious about it. And if you look at just kind of you look at, okay, great-great-great-grandparents, very serious about it. Now, the next generation, they tend to do less. The next generation tends to do less. Less and less, and it's reduced. It keeps on reducing. But it's an interesting thing to think about, because if something reduces so much over time, in generations, what does that mean practically? It means things become lost. So it's a responsibility, even on an ancestral level, if we want to think like that, that I have some duty to my parents and grandparents and so on to keep the culture alive. Keep the culture of Gita recitation alive. Keep the culture of puja alive. Keep the culture of coming to the temple alive. It's very important, actually. Just like I saw one T-shirt. Sometimes I wonder, should I be reading these T-shirts? But anyways, it's kind of natural, I guess. People wear T-shirts and it says something. So by nature, you look at the T-shirt and you read it. I mean, that's just, anyways, that's what I do. I don't know if anybody else does that, but it seems like a natural reaction. But sometimes I think maybe I shouldn't read these, because, sometimes it's kind of stupid messages. But anyways, one of these T-shirts said, the guy was wearing the T-shirt, "I am my grandparents' worst nightmare." That's what the T-shirt was. I mean, the guy has become so far, he's distanced himself so far from the ethics, from the morals, from the principles that his grandparents stood for, that his grandparents are thinking, "Oh my God, this guy's a nightmare." Like, now of course you could say it was like a joke. We're hoping his T-shirt was a joke, but sometimes people become like that. Like there's a saying in America that, if my grandparents knew how I was living, they would be rolling in their grave. Because that's American, whatever policy. They don't burn the bear. They don't bury. Excuse me. They don't burn the body. They bury the body. So therefore, the saying is, my grandparents would be rolling in the grave. It means they would be so disturbed about how I'm living that they'd be rolling in their grave. What's wrong? So yeah, it's been a long-standing tradition for generations that people would do something spiritual in the morning and in the evening, ideally, because these morning hours, they're governed by what we call, or what Krishna calls in the Bhagavad Gita, sattva guna, or the mode of goodness. Means the time is very conducive for spiritual activities, because it's quiet, it's peaceful. We haven't got into the passionate activities of the day. Means going to work. It could be a very passionate thing. right? Does anybody agree with that? Work can be very passionate, or school, or whatever it is. So the idea is to do something in the morning, spiritual. Cultivate. And we will, if we, every day we try to cultivate this, we will become situated in knowledge and therefore very dear to Krishna. And one thing, there's a verse here, and quoted in the purport of text 18, that Krishna says he's in the heart. The devotees are, well, first of all, he says, the devotees are always in my heart. So Krishna is first of all saying that he has a heart, And he's saying that the devotees, means those who are servants of me, Krishna is saying that the devotees are in my heart. So they're very close to me. And then he says, and I am always in the hearts of the devotees. So Krishna is saying that I'm in the hearts of, so they're in each other's hearts. Means they're thinking of each other. The devotee does not know anything beyond me, and I also cannot forget the devotee. There's a very intimate relationship. So this particular, pure devotees are in full knowledge, are never put out of spiritual touch, and therefore they're very much dear to me. So this is coming from one particular pastime in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And what happened was that Dhruva Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, a great devotee, king, one sage came to see him, Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni, he was going to take lunch with Ambarish Maharaj, but then Ambarish Maharaj said, "Okay, you go bathe in the river, get bathed, and then come back, and then I will serve you lunch." So while Durvasa Muni was taking his bath in the local river, Ambarish Maharaj, he broke his fast. He was fasting. It was a fast day, Ekadashi. And he broke his fast by drinking water. Well, first of all, culturally, he didn't want to accept any food before Durvasa Muni did. He wanted to serve him lunch first, and then he accepts. But then there was a particular window of time where he had to break his fast, Ambarish Maharaj. So he's thinking, well, what do I do? The guest is taking his bath in the river, so what am I supposed to do? And then he thought to himself, okay, I'll drink water, which is breaking the fast, but not really breaking the fast, it's just drinking water. And this way I'll break the fast. And then everything will be okay. So by the mystic power of Durvasa Muni, he understood that Ambarish broke the fast by drinking water. And he became very angry. Because you could say he breached cultural etiquette. And Durvasa Muni had a tendency to become angry. These sages sometimes have tendencies to become angry. So what he did is he took a piece from his hair and he threw it on the ground, and then a demon came out. And this demon was created to kill Ambarish Maharaj, who was a great devotee. So then what happened is Vishnu, he sent his chakra, this Sudarshan chakra, and it came and destroyed this demon. And then this chakra went after Durvasa Muni. And then Durvasa Muni, he started to run, which is very interesting because when this demon came to attack Ambarish Maharaj just folded his palms and he was ready to be killed. But the sage, after Sudarshan going after this sage, he started to run. And then eventually he ran to so many different great personalities throughout the universe, and then eventually he approached Vishnu. And he asked Vishnu, please save me from this Sudarshan chakra. And then Vishnu said, I don't have the power to save you. He said, I am actually under the control of my devotees. And you've offended Ambarish Maharaj, so I can't help you. And then, meanwhile, this chakra was spinning really fast in the background, coming ready to kill Durvasa Muni. But then at this particular point, this is when Vishnu said this verse. Sadhavo hridayam mayam sadhunam hridanam tvayam. That the devotees are in my heart, I am in the heart of the devotees. They don't know anyone beyond me, I don't know anyone but them. We have a very intimate relationship. So he said that at that point, Vishnu. So then Ambarish Maharaj, he went to Durvasa Muni and he begged forgiveness, fell at his feet, and then Ambarish Maharaj said, oh yeah, no problem, I wasn't offended at all. And it says actually that Ambarish Maharaj was waiting there for a year. Still didn't take his... These are different times, and time works differently. And yeah, but he was waiting there for a whole year, and what happened after all of that, Durvasa Muni came back and apologized, and then Ambarish Maharaj fed him lunch after such a long time. So, yes, there's a very intimate relationship between Krishna's devotees. This is where this verse is coming from. So does anybody have any questions?
This year for like 30 days, like generally.
A year. It just says a year. I don't think it's a year of demigod time. I think it's a year of just regular time.
What would have been an appropriate measure for breaking etiquette?
Well, I mean, what Ambarish Maharaj did was appropriate. For him to drink water was not an offense. It was just he wanted to break his fast. But Durvasa Muni took it too far. He said, oh, you offended me and this and that, and it wasn't appropriate how Durvasa Muni responded. There is room for breaching etiquette, or you could say bending certain principles. Like, for example, lying. It's okay to lie under certain circumstances. For example, there's a case where a Brahmin, who the Brahmins are, one of the qualities of Brahmins is truthfulness. They should be truthful. But then there was a case where this person was chasing after this family, going to kill them. And then the Brahmin, the family passed the Brahmin, and then this murderer came. And they asked the Brahmin, oh, which way did that family go? And he said, oh, they went that way. And that murderer went and killed them. So it says that Brahmin had to experience some heavy sinful reaction for that, for telling the truth. So there are certain circumstances, even in just ordinary business dealings. Prabhupada makes the point. Just like you have somebody who's a businessman, and then he tells you, oh, I make no profit. But how is he in business if he's making no profit? Right? They are making profit. But he'll say that, oh, I'm not making any profit. It's a lie. But it's whatever. There's some justification there. Like we were in India one time, and one of the brahmacharis, they went to this sweet shop. And then the guy said, my friend said, oh, what's that sweet there? Is it chocolate or is it carob? You know, carob's like a imitation chocolate. It's very popular in America in many ways, but is it chocolate or is it carob? And then this sweet fellow, the sweet seller said, oh, it's chocolate. And my friend said, oh, no, that's okay. And then the guy said, no, I mean, it's carob. You know, he changed his mind real quick. No, he said it's carob. And then my friend said, well, is it chocolate or is it carob? And then the guy said, oh, it's chocolate carob. You know, he's mixed. Anyways. So yeah, there are some, in business dealings, Prabhupada makes the point, and I give the example of this Brahmin, so there's some. Does anybody have any other questions or comments? Did you have something?
I just lost contact because I had to go out and come back.
Okay. Would you like to say something?
So just curious, so how should one go about reading Bhagavad Gita? Like, is it page after page?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, the first chapter's a lot of names, and you could say it's very introductory, means it's setting the scene of the Bhagavad Gita, like it's describing, for example, all the warriors' names and so on. But the second chapter is where the teachings really start, philosophical teachings. So, but yeah, to start from the beginning to the end is important. Even the first chapter to read is important. Yeah, so just start from the beginning and go to the end. And then once you do that, you just do that again. Just keep on doing that. I mean, the middle 6 chapters are said to be the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. So that's there. Well, there's 18 chapters, so the middle 6. So I guess that would be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Drops of water wear away stone, so even if you read a little bit every day, it will add up. And it's not that big of a book. And Bhagavad Gita, as it is specifically, as it is important. It's the most distributed book, Bhagavad Gita, in the whole world. And it has beautiful commentaries, word by word, translations, and by our teacher, Srila Prabhupada. So if you have Bhagavad Gita as it is, that's great. And if you don't have it, we could give you one. So, yeah. Did you have a question? Or what was that?
No, go ahead.
You could ask it. Okay. Are you sure? 100%? Okay. That's all right. Did you want to say something? Yeah.
You said in the night we should read the same thing over and over.
That's one method. You don't have to do that. That's just what this religious fellow was professing to be a good practice. But you could also read through book. Like, for example, if you're reading the Gita, if you read one verse and purport per night, for example. But yeah, you're going to say?
That is what my question was, like, if you just read over and over.
How do you make any progress? Well, I guess you'd have to be reading other times to make progress further. Like in the morning, for example, if you read a verse and a purport and you just keep on making, page by page, go through the whole book, then that's there. And then the evening, if you read similar, the same thing. But again, that's not an absolute rule or standard, it's just an idea. But the idea is to just do something, read something. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Nice discussion.
Thank you.
Hope to see you more often now.
Okay. Thank you.
You travel around the world.
I travel, yeah, different places. But I'm based here. I live here in San Diego. I live upstairs. So I joined the temple when I was 18.
Yeah, you've been staying here a long time, almost 15, 16 years now.
Yeah.
When I saw him first, he was a little boy. Yeah, thank you very much. He's really learned a lot, he's studied a lot, and